it's definitely an intriguing prospect, and the question of whether this girl is, a human that's part Time Lord, or whether she's fully Time Lord. Once again, I wonder if it is Amy and Rory's child after all. Did the TARDIS being in proximity to the TARDIS affect the child in any way, shape, or form? But and judging by the time frame of my recording, I'm probably gonna have to cut this into two parts. So if you're tuning in now, this is probably part two. But that's pretty much what I want to say to Abby Gable 94's comment, and I'll be moving on to the next commenter, which is SS3012A, who says, "Hello, River Song's story is being told backwards. From her perspective, that was her last kiss with the Doctor. River's journeys with the Doctor came to an end when she was first introduced to the series in the library episode. I guess in a future episode when River meets the Doctor for the first time, from her perspective, he will know everything about her and she will know nothing about him. The opposite was true when the Doctor met her in the library episode." Yeah, that's exactly right, and for me personally, it's one of those things where it's like, and I think I commented something along these lines on Friend's channel. It's one of those things where the sort of backward converging timelines of River Song and the Doctor, it's when I don't try to really think about it, it makes perfect sense. But when I actually try to think really deeply on what is going on with their timelines, it's almost paradoxical, and the more I think about it, the less I'm able to really comprehend it. But no, you're exactly right, and it's still going to be very interesting to see it play out on screen. Because as I say, with the Stephen Moffat, we could be expecting the end of River Song's travels to be witnessed in the series, and that could technically be true. Who's to say that when we get that reveal, she's not, a minion of Omega or something to that effect? So in essence, one chapter of River Song's life on the show will be ending, and something completely new will begin. Frankly, it could go anywhere. But yeah, no, you're exactly right, user SS3012A. And it's a very good summary of what's actually unfolding with River Song and the Doctor. So, moving on to the next commenter, which is DMM October. "Gotta love Moffat. The Silents are the new enemies, way more evil than the Daleks. So much better than that furry RTD who run them into the ground. Okay, so on another level, he resurrected them in the psyches of some of us who didn't give a bleep what they were when they were kids. The Muppets were on, but I digress. It's one thing to resurrect the Daleks. It takes a lot more genius for someone to create something more scary than them. Hiya." So, yeah, the Silents are definitely made an impression on you, and I have to agree, they made an impression on me. If you watched the previous video that you commented on, I think there are some very intriguing ideas and aspects to the Silents, what we've seen of them so far. As I referenced, that they seem to have certain elements from some of the worst foes the Doctor has met. When it comes to the Daleks, I'm a Dalek fan, but I'm not scared of them. I just love seeing them, so whenever they show up, it could be a stupid Dalek episode, and I just get a kick out of it. So, but one thing, what I want to say about the Russell T Davies era is, let's keep in mind, how long the series was gone for, and for me personally, I think, Russell T did what was necessary in the time it was necessary to do it in to bring Doctor Who back. We wouldn't have this current incarnation, and for that matter, Stephen Moffat, he might be doing something completely different. We might not have any Doctor Who at all had it not been for Davies, and not just him alone, by the way. The writers and Christopher Eccleston as the Ninth Doctor, Billy Piper as Rose, the cast of smaller characters that we meet in those series, as well as the baddies that we see, and the people behind the scenes. Without that generation of Doctor Who, being brought back to life, so to speak, we wouldn't have this current incarnation. So everything that, it's arguable. It's basically whatever your cup of tea is. If you prefer this to what Russell T Davies did, you're definitely entitled to that. And to a degree, I'm in agreement that it's gone way above and beyond as far as how much greater, it seems to be unfolding. But without the Russell T Davies era, we wouldn't have that. So on the one hand, it's kind of like there are certain elements of things Davies did that don't have to be liked by everybody, but without it, we wouldn't have what we have now, which is the current incarnation. So, but yeah, the silence definitely. Oh man, they made an impression on me. I remember seeing the trailer, and I think I posted it in a video. Had I been drinking something at the time that I saw this, I would have done a spit take because it just shocked me. The very first image you see of one of the Silents in one of the trailers, and they are definitely intriguing villains. I think probably it's fair to say that they're more dynamic than the Daleks. They're not just some tin pepper pot walking around shooting things at random. So in that I agree, but I still love the Daleks anyway. But moving on to the next commenter, Hot Wheels 05. The story of the TARDIS-like structure will be revisited because the actor from that story is returning, though not sure when, probably in the autumn series. Yeah, I don't remember the cat's name, but I believe you're talking about the actor from The Lodger, and he will be returning. I saw somebody's like behind the scenes, probably pirated footage of Matt Smith and that guy filming, an episode, and Matt Smith's doctor was holding a Cybermat, so I think it'll probably fall in line with whenever the Cybermen are going to return, and I hope it didn't just, completely blow your mind with a spoiler reveal there, that the Cybermen seem to be returning in some capacity, but I don't think that necessarily means that, the TARDIS, the makeshift TARDIS will have to return just because the character is returning, although it's absolutely possible. I think I said that, as far as that TARDIS thing goes, it was just my impression in listening to the Doctor's dialogue again, that maybe it was trying to wrap up whether that TARDIS was going to be seen again or not, and it's really open to interpretation. It's certainly absolutely possible that we'll see that makeshift TARDIS again or another one. There's the crazy hullabaloo about seeing what looks very much like, and personally I feel is the 9th and 10th Doctor's TARDIS. So we are still potentially going to see some other form of TARDIS. How many remains to be seen, and in what capacity remains to be seen. But just because the actor is returning, I don't think that necessarily validates that we will see it again, because it doesn't really have to be integral to the story. It just depends on where Moffat is going with it, really. And so yeah, moving on to I believe this is the final comment from Grey Ghost 2020. Well, I had several theories, but the one that was in my mind was that Amy did or had something the Silents needed that would create them at the dawn of man. Apparently the TARDIS, or the TARDIS the Silents were using, will go back to create the Silents. Also, we aren't sure what the little girl is besides a Time Lady, and we will find out possibly that the Doctor's wife, or rather in the Doctor's wife, or at the end of this part of the series, before they do the cliffhanger, and then come up with the other 6 episodes. So yeah, basically, talking about what the origin of the Silents could be. And, I'd be interested to know more about, if there is a TARDIS connection to that. It seemed to me that for whatever reason, the Silents were using that makeshift TARDIS. We really haven't seen much as evidenced to give us an idea of how they, came into possession of it, whether they were the builders of it. As I said previously, with the Silence, they are intriguing, and I wonder, as other people have said, are they just a lone species, doing their own thing? Are they perhaps a precursor to something bigger and badder coming down the pike? They have elements, as I've said, seemingly of some of the worst foes the Doctor's met, the Weeping Angels, the Krillitanes, similar in look and or abilities rather to the Ood, and these are three species that were being said to, evolving. It's definitely possible there could be a TARDIS connection in how they were created, or perhaps, connection with Amy. But I kind of, while I definitely consider that a possibility, I'm kind of leaning more toward the idea that if they were created, perhaps they were created by something more along the lines of like Omega, or, maybe they're a product of the cracks in the universe. Keep in mind, as I said, one of the potential rumors, and it could have just been complete, hullabaloo, is that Doctor 10.5 and Rose are going to return. And, well, if they do, how could they, essentially? And the cracks in the universe seem to be the likeliest cause. So, perhaps the Silence are something from another universe. It's really hard to say where this is all going to go. It could really go anywhere, and, Stephen Moffat has just, proved himself a genius in the writing, with his, singular episodes during the Davies era, and now this new, Moffat era. It's just, it could go anywhere, and it could, really, everything could amount to anything. And it's the first time in a while that it's, all the possibilities are endless, it seems. But, I've enjoyed going over some of your comments, and I'm not going to promise that I'm going to be doing this again. I just wanted to catch up with everybody's comments and, some great ideas and interesting points. And, maybe I'll do this again in the future. I'll probably, if I do, I'll probably just make it strictly the comments that I get on videos, because my private message system is kind of broken at the moment. I'm not really getting them. And I can't send any out and all of that. So, but if I do decide to do this again, subscribe in case I respond to you, and you can, be aware of it when I do, if I do. So, I hope you enjoyed going over some of, the cool comments that I've received on my previous video, and we'll see if I'll do this again in the future. If not, be on the lookout for other Doctor Who related content in the future, as well as things ranging from Star Trek to Superman, movies, books, games. I'll pretty much cover anything that, tickles my fancy, so to speak. So, thanks for watching, and thank you all for commenting. Thank you all for subscribing. And this is SXE Blues signing off.